Look at my life, anyone can see. I've been my own worst enemy. I've burned bridges, I've built walls, barbed wire fences, man, I've done it all. Rivers of regret, just let them be. Won't let them run between you and me. Rivers of regret, just let them be. Rivers of regret. I've let you down, so much I know. Over and over, 'cause that's how I roll. All my mistakes, I know them well, captured in pictures every time I fail. Rivers of regret, just let them be. Won't let them run between you and me. Rivers of regret, just let them be. Rivers of regret.
Around, I suppose the summer of '99, my dad started having trouble swallowing, and he went into the doctor, found out he had esophageal cancer, and it was pretty advanced. Ended up having surgery and some chemo and radiation, and everything looked pretty good at that point. We had a really good year. That year we bought a boat and went fishing once or twice a week, and went out deer hunting that fall, and then he found out the cancer had come back, so he decided not to continue treatment, to try to enjoy the rest of his life. And that last winter with him, being able to set up his house for him and get him in a good deer hunting spot and chase woods for him, something I'd always wanted to do for him. He treated me so good my whole life, you know, getting me in a good spot for deer hunting and setting up fish houses for me and letting me spear, and so I was able to do that for him at least 1 year. And in February of 2001, got a call from my mom early in the morning, and my dad had a really bad headache and wasn't doing very well, and I essentially listened to my dad breathe his last breath on the phone with my mom. And when he was going through his cancer, there was a song that he had heard, and it was called "The Anchor Holds," and the song is about a ship being battered by a storm, about the sails being torn, and you know, the ship pretty much being destroyed, but the anchor of the ship was holding. And you know, for him, and it was a perfect symbolism of his life and how Jesus Christ was that anchor for him. And you know, he was going through that cancer. It was destroying his body. He was aged 20 years that last year. And you know, as I've gone through my life, as I've gotten older, I've gone through some trials on my own, and that anchor symbol also represents my life and how God has always been there for me through the good and the bad. And my dad left a legacy in his family, in his faith. I'll always appreciate, you know, everything he did for me, and how much he loved me. I remember after that happened, just how lost I was that year. I not only lost my dad, I lost my teacher and my best friend, and felt myself getting anxious a lot and pacing the floors, not really knowing what to do with myself. And I remember at least 1 or 2 times even going to the phone and picking up the phone and dialing it, and then remembering he wasn't there anymore, just to get some advice or tell him what happened that day. I was at work one day, and a lady that I worked with brought a decoy in, and she said, my husband made this, and he wants you to have it. And I just remember thinking what a special gift that was. The guy gave me something he'd made on his own, and I got this decoy, and I started looking at it. The spearing season's only 3 months long, and it's so short, and I've always wanted to have something to do in the off season that kind of keeps me going throughout the year. And I started doing some research. I felt like I had to do something with my hands to keep me busy, and found a video from a fellow carver. His name's Mark Greenig, and he did a episode for PBS and went step by step on how to make a fish decoy. And from then on, I just started trying to get to do, make decoys. And my first decoy, probably 100, they weren't very good looking. They were pretty primitive, and I just tried every year to get a little better. The first time you walk and step foot in that Darkhouse and you shut the door and everything's dark, and that hole comes popping out at you like a TV. I mean, it looks like you're looking at a high definition TV. I remember that first time spearing a fish, and seeing that fish come in, and even if it's a little one, but if it has any size to it at all, you see it slide into the hole, kind of like a submarine or a torpedo, and come right up to the decoy. And your heart is pounding, you're breathing heavy, and you get that spear right over their head, and you just kind of let it go. And as you get it up out of the hole, your main concern is that it doesn't come off that spear, and you kick that door open, you get it off the spear and get it outside. And I remember that first fish I speared, my heart pounding. I could probably barely talk, and breathing fast, just like shooting a buck. It's an adrenaline rush, and once you've done it, once you've been able to spear a fish, I pretty much guarantee you'd be hooked for life. And now that I've been spearing for a long time, I don't go out to spear a bunch of fish. I spear a handful of fish a winter. I usually will spear a fish if we're going to eat fish for supper that night. One of my main goals is to get a big fish for the wall, 42 inch or more. But for the most part, I go out there to watch the fish, to enjoy it if I have someone with me. And it's still, to this day, when a fish comes in, it still is a adrenaline rush. It's still exciting. It's fun watching them. And it's like a drug to me.
Should have let you spear. Why didn't I do that? There's my decoy. It's a nice one. I'll try to get it. Which side is it on? I think it's on the right. Here. Oh, he's got it right in there. Oh. That's a nice one. We got a good one, finally.
Yeah, only 3 years, huh? anchor symbol to my family's always been kind of an important symbol since, my dad, for him anyways, with his struggle with cancer, that was his symbolism of how he felt about God. And for me it's has the same symbolism. And when I first started making the decoys, it was to get rid of anxiety and sadness. It was just a way to put my mind to work, so I wasn't thinking about him dying. And so when I made my first decoy, actually back then I put an anchor mark on all of them. And the reason why is I always felt that making the decoys was a way for me to connect with my dad in a way, because it had something to do with spearing something we enjoyed together. So right away I started putting those anchor marks on my decoys. And now that I have gone on, I have a way to burn them into the decoy so that it'll never come off. I guess for me it's kind of a way to have a testimony, kind of give a little bit of the glory back to God and also honor my dad at the same time. And I guess if a genie came to me and said, you have 3 wishes, one of my wishes would be to spend an hour, 3 hours, 5 hours with my dad in a spear house or in a deer stand again. I would give anything for that.
Rivers of regret, just let them be. Won't let them run between you and me. Rivers of regret, just let them be. Rivers of regret. Comes the past, same old song chasing me down for all I've done wrong. But it won't let go, and I can't hide. Rivers of regret, just let them be. Won't let them run between you and me. Rivers of regrets, just let them be. Rivers of regret. Rivers of regrets, just let them be. Won't let them run between.
Those times were really special. Just now that I think back on it, how lucky I was to get to sit out in the fish house with my dad, and he passed that tradition on to me that he had learned from his father-in-law. Now I get to pass that on to my sons, and continue that tradition that's so old in this state.